Now we're going to take a look at how to utilize a cut map to really redefine the way the hair is cut on your surface. All right, so we're going to take a look at this attribute right here, which is cut map. Now, I'm just testing this, so let's set this back to 10,000 hairs and a hair pass of 1. Obviously, we're not going to get as pretty of a haircut or a final render, but we're just previewing our scene here. Now, let's take a quick render from this angle, and we'll see what's happening. All right, as you can tell here, we've got this very angular cut here on his forehead. It's not very organic. And a lot of that is because we're using that scalping method that we talked about earlier. So let me open this up a bit. There it is. Okay, so you can see that the hair follows this shape. Well, what we can do is actually plug in a material to that onto that scalp, and it's going to then control how those hairs are cut. Now, what's the difference between let's talk about the difference between a cut map and the cut tool. Where is this useful and different? Well, the cut map, you can actually use a black and white map where if it's black, it's going to be no hairs, be 0, it's going to be cut to 0. If it's white, it's going to be cut to 1. And they are independent of this hair itself. So in this tool right here, you actually cut the guide hairs, where here you're actually cutting the render hairs. So if you had this set to a gray, like a 50% gray, it's going to look at the guide hair and then render out the hair half the height of the guide hair. Where if you have an area that's white, it's going to render out the full length of the guide hair. So hopefully that makes sense. This actually works in conjunction with the guide hairs in your scene. All right, so let's load up a cut map that we've already generated, and I'll show you what that looks like. The file is called scalpbase.jpg. It's in your source images folder. There we go, and we'll hit view and we'll pull this up, and let me just move this to this monitor here. It's a nice big image. And as you can see here, we've got a black and white image painted up where the white means normal length of the guide hairs and black means start to taper them off from 0 to the gray to white. All right, so now that we have that plugged in, okay, it'll be easier if I apply this to the actual material. So let me take that guy and assign a new Lambert material. And for the color, I can go ahead and just plug in the texture that we just made here. So I'll just plug that in, just so you can see what's going on here. So let me just texture this. And it looks like it's kind of a redraw issue. There it is. There it is. Okay. So obviously we're going to need to hide that geometry piece. Okay, so Control H to hide that. And now let's go back to my side view and render this. All right, so as you can see, I don't have a lot of hair here. I went back and turned off my passes, but you can see I don't have that blockiness now. I actually have some very nicely organic hair. So again, we can go back into the passes of the system and crank that back up to 2, give myself 20,000 hairs again. Actually, let's crank that up to 30,000, just so we can see how this affects the final render by utilizing a cut map. And here we go. We've got a nice little more organic, and if we wanted to, we could go ahead and put in a peak here just to create a little more variation in this forehead area. But that's an easy way. Let me reset this back to 10,000 for the next lesson. An easy way to create a cut map for your scene.